Hey everyone, so back day 9 today, and we are talking around Kronos, the superhero. No, well, actually, you'll get into it, but it's all about we're challenging how we have certain mind blocks around time and what we need to do about it, and some solutions. And this is something that Ray has definitely championed, and I watch her operate like this. And when I talk about authenticity and integrity and not getting you guys to do something we wouldn't do ourselves, this one is something that literally lets Ray run her life in a way that makes it so efficient. And we get into some really interesting back and forth conversations, but we also start the episode off because it's the third attempt at recording it, because the first two didn't go so well on communication styles, understanding, interpretations, and we're trying to bring that in. So I hope you enjoy the husband and wife interaction, as well as the theory, knowledge, help, value that we're trying to bring to. Enjoy the episode. Why are you laughing, Ray?
Well, I'm laughing because this is take 2. We had to start again because we just couldn't get into a flow.
Okay. What happened? We're trying to be authentic here.
Well, we both have an idea, I think, of how this episode should flow. And we both were flowing our rivers in different directions. So it was like there were two people talking on the episode, but having two different conversations.
You were on that river, I was on a tubing one. It's the different communication styles. The reason that we're on this is it's opposites, and we need to work through those things.
So welcome to the Identity Human Podcast.
No, now you stole my bit now. Welcome to the Identity... Fine, you go.
No, I like go.
No, you go.
You go.
I insist. Welcome to the Identity Human Podcast with your host, Don and Ray.
Oh, you stole the Ray.
Sorry, I was in the flow. Welcome back to the podcast with your host, Don, and the wonderful...
Ray.
Yay. Okay, so go for it. What are we talking about today?
Well, we're excited to be here for day number 9 of our 12 Days of Christmas series. And today, after much debate, so as I mentioned in previous episodes, we took the lead on different episodes in the series just so that we could bring, different food for thought, bring our different energies, bring our different experiences. And something that I have had a lot of experience in over the past sort of 5 years is time blocking. Okay.
Great.
So what I'm saying it like that because I was like, don't
explain. No one knows what you're talking about. Let's go.
Okay. So yes, we will be talking about time blocking. If you haven't heard the term before, it's all about how to take control of your time and be the master of your time. Okay. But this episode is going to I want us to generally talk around just time and how we hopefully can change your perception of time after listening to this episode so that you can completely transform the way you approach 2025. So rather than feeling like you never have enough time, realize that there's more than enough time to do what you want to achieve, and it's how you create priorities in your life. So what I thought we could begin by talking about.
So I was drifting away there because I said, let's give time a different word called Kronos. And he's a villain. And everyone sees him as a villain or her as a villain. And we want to turn him into a superhero.
Exactly. Time, it can be your superpower.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the thing that holds you back.
I think I've nailed it.
And that's what I really want us to put across in this episode is how can we take time on something that people so often talk about it negatively. Time's running out, I don't have enough time, and how it's holding them back.
And even as a negative motivation, like put up a thing of 80 blocks and every year tick one off. Like that's how much time you've got left. And it's like, no, that's so scary.
So how can we take that and like actually realize that time can be your superpower? It's your superhero. It's you really have more than enough time than you need to achieve everything you want to achieve. And that will help you to think differently. And we're not just going to talk, I don't know what I would define as fluffy and just these big ideas. We're going to talk about some practical tools like time blocking. But I think it's important that the overall concept of this episode is to really change your relationship with time. So how would you say people typically live? Like most people, it was say us about 5 to 7 years ago, before we started really working on time blocking and tools like that. Typical day as parents of young kids, growing businesses.
Well, I'd say you've streaked ahead since then. and I still have bits of me that do, but so that's how I recognize it. Like reactivity. So reacting to like what's going to happen today. So even though we've put time aside, something else comes up and all that time that we put aside no longer matters.
And the way I see a lot of people doing it is they literally they're so good at just cracking on and just doing their day. They know what needs to get done and they just crack on. So they smash through their email inbox. They smash through their to-do list. They do everything that their kids need doing for them. And they're just absolutely moving at a million miles an hour, just doing. And they have these big goals that they want to achieve. So whether it's like a health goal, weight loss goal, a goal in their business, a personal development goal, they have these goals they want to achieve, but the years, like time slips by and they realize that they look back at their last few weeks and those weeks have not moved them further towards where they want to be. So it's a very reactive style. And there's nothing wrong with it, but that's where we see most of our clients.
There's nothing wrong with that. If you are in a great space in life and you actually don't have young kids, you don't have businesses, things just go. Like it's not about touting that there's one way that's certain that is right to live by. But when it comes to performance, which is what we're trying to help people with, and like speed of the world, you got kids, you got lots of things going on, and you actually just feel like you're falling behind and you are complaining about not enough time and being reactive and fighting fires and all that kind of stuff, then this is where what we speak about really does matter.
Yes.
And so I would say a whole lot of what Ray does and how she champions this is so important. And from my side, it's all about like, well, how do we learn to be able to apply the things that she says?
Yeah. And if there's one thing you take out of this episode is to never allow yourself to say the phrase, I don't have enough time, whether that's just to yourself or to others. If you hear yourself saying, there's not enough time, I don't have enough time, then just obviously you're going to still say it a few more times. There's a lot of time here, but it's about recognizing and becoming aware that you leaning on that phrase or that idea too much and slowly kind of removing it from your life.
And by the way, there's some of you that are listeners and be like, Ray, I know you're saying that, but it's a lot of nonsense. Like it doesn't matter. You come and look at my day and you will see I just have no time.
From our point of view, we have 4 young kids aged 9 and under. We have about 4 or 5 businesses between us, multiple businesses that are growing, and some of them more established, some of them growing, but all successful. So I have about 10 different team members that all report to me in different forms. My kids flexi school, so they're part home educate, part go to school. They have a sport every afternoon.
Not just one sport, like 3 to 5.
Don and I manage to exercise 4 times a week and do things like the 3 Peaks Challenge together and still have time for date night. So we have a lot going on and we have enough time for it all because, and here comes the key that I really want to focus on. It's all about having a life by design.
Yeah, you've got probably a key one is we don't sacrifice sleep.
Yes. So, that's
because otherwise people just go, okay, well then you must work till 2 a.m. It's like, no, I think I was saying to someone today, we probably only went past the 12 o'clock mark maybe 5 times this whole year. And that's not a stretch. Like there are times that you're just going to have to just put. Yeah.
So we're not compromising on our health where possible. And one of those key pillars for us is 8 hours of sleep.
Wow. 7.
We
aim for 8. 8 is like the golden. Obviously, it's a goal. Anyway,
we never really go below 7. Yeah. And so we're not compromising on sleep to achieve all of this. And how we really do it is like the simple way I would describe it, like an easy catchphrase to remember, is really to have build your life by design. So many people have these goals, but when it comes to day to day, they're just absolutely smashing through everything, thinking if I work harder, if I work faster, I will eventually get to all the urgent stuff and then get on to the goals. But it's it's just backwards. It's doing it the wrong way around. So what life by design really means, and this is kind of like time blocking, but in simple terms, what you need to do today, and our little, each of these 12 Days of Christmas episodes, we have a little tasks for people. And so the tasks I'm giving you quite early on, not like near the end. I want you at the end of this episode to sit down and on a single piece of paper or a spreadsheet if you are that way inclined, or another piece of software, but somewhere where you can
print a piece of paper that shows a picture.
Somewhere where you can put down your thoughts. And I want you to map out your ideal week, but you need to go down to the granular level of basically at least every hour, if you want to do every half hour. So you basically want to map out hour by hour, Monday through Sunday, what is your ideal week? So put in there the things that are important to you. If exercising 4 or 5 times a week or 2 or 3 times a week, put that in. If how much time for you, the idea here is if you got to the end of that week, you would be happy that you had ticked off everything that was important and of value to you. So if spending 4 hours with your kids, that quality time is important, block that in somewhere. If going on a date night with your spouse is important, block in 3 hours for that. Like time block in like a 2 hour block or an hour block, everything that's important. And then there's obviously the things you have to do, like eating and sleeping and
waking up
and work, etc. And basically draw up your ideal week. And if in that process you realize that there's just simply not enough space, I'm not going to use the word time, there's not enough space in you that, you know, you only have 7 days, 20 hours a day to fit everything in, then you need to reassess. And I'm not saying you could cut stuff out, you could outsource, you could ask for more help, because if you're spending
elevate instead of cut stuff out.
Yes, if you're spending 6 hours or 4 hours every Saturday cleaning, and that means you don't have time to exercise or spend time with your kids, then be creative about hire a cleaner or something. But it basically allows you to assess and say, well, obviously I'm unhappy at the end of every single week. There just simply isn't enough hours in the day. And so it's realizing that if you plan it out, then you have something you're heading towards. So that's step one of time blocking. I think people often dive in with time blocking and just go, well, let me plan everything, but without thinking about, well, what's my perfect week look like? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you have to show yourself how you want to live so you know when you're not living that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably one of the more simple ways of realizing where you want to go. If you can actually think about in your ideal week, and it's like, I know Ray said, go down to the half hour if you can, but when you just first start out, if you've never done it, like 4 times a week exercise, if that's your ideal week, put that down.
But put it in on the days. I think that's been one of the most powerful things for us. Like we have our set exercise. Like when we said 4 times a week, it's so easy to slip by. But now for more than a year, I exercise Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And that's the days. And you have set days. It sounds so boring, but it means, and 20-year-old me would have been like, that is so boring that you know exactly what days you're doing what. But it means that like, it's almost like an instinctual reaction in my body. When that day comes, I'm like, I will be exercising. And what did we do on Christmas Day? Christmas Day was Wednesday. And what did we do on Christmas Day?
We went for a run.
Which is like, this isn't to show off, but it was like, I said to Don, it's Christmas, it's Wednesday today. Like, what are we going to do? We're going for a run. Like, there was no question about it because that's what we do on Wednesdays.
Yeah. And I think it is like, you hear the sayings, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And discipline gives you freedom and all that kind of stuff. That's essentially, we're just dissecting, well, what does discipline gives you freedom mean? What does, you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail? It means all of these things you're planning out and looking at when you're going to do them, it stops you from having to think about it. And if you don't have to think about it, you don't have to put energy into that thinking, which means you just do it. So exactly. You could go into it and be like, you can just, when you exercise, plan out your exercise on the Sunday. So, on a Monday, you're in the gym doing 3 exercises or 4, etc., etc. Hi, guys. Just a quick interruption on this bit right here. So discipline, what does that actually mean? I don't have it. How do I get it? That's what the challenge is for. If what we're saying so far resonates with you and you go, yes, I love this idea of managing my time and time blocking, but I've tried it before and I don't have the discipline to do it. I don't have the focus to do it. That's what we're trying to help you achieve just within our challenge. So sign up to the challenge and come and see if those 5 days can give you what you need in order to do what you want to do. www.identityhuman.com. Sign up, join the Facebook group, and let's get going. You don't have long now.
And that's a great segue that you've taken there, because if you think, I'm sure everyone has heard of the story. If you haven't, I'll briefly explain it. Like, you hear about the people, the likes of Steve Jobs. What did he do? The founder of Apple. Every single day he wore the same, I think it was white t-shirt and jeans. He didn't have a huge wardrobe to select from. He wore his white t-shirt and his jeans so that he didn't have to think about what am I going to wear today. He could save his decision making for the key things. Focus, yeah. And for me, that is what, starting with this like ideal week, life by design, like designing my ideal week, and then living to that means that I don't have to be thinking about which day should I exercise this week, like, and having that, like, getting that what you would call decision fatigue. Like, that decision has already been made and I'm just following the plan. And I think that's a big thing. I know, like, my when you now get into the time, so that's like your ideal week. When you get into the actual time blocking, that's a bit more technical. That's where I literally go into I use a Google Calendar. Some people might use an Apple Calendar. And I literally, everything I do in my work day and my day is blocked. Why are you smiling?
Because this is where I would say, you should try that app called Motion, which you haven't tried. But it's
I have tried, but it just didn't gel with me.
It's an AI integrated calendar. And if you don't do something, it moves everything else along. So it helps. Whereas Ray does that manually. And I actually don't know if AI doing it for you keeps you as disciplined as if you do it yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing. So my rhythm. So if you want, I'll just talk very high level because we don't want this episode to be too long around time blocking. But how the rhythm then goes from like, okay, you've sat down and drawn up your ideal week. What I then do is I use a Google Calendar, but any like online calendar.
Actually, that's a good point. If you don't have a digital calendar,
what do you do?
How on earth are you still managing? Well done, first of all. Second of all, get one.
Oh yeah, that's a big. So that's a good like second grade. Like we talk about not always giving the university level explanation for things, but actually going back to a lower grade.
Tie it into your personal email first, and then add on everything else that layers on top of that.
And so I think it's a really important point. I'm just jumping and talking about digital calendars, but other people don't even have digital calendars. So that is an amazing. And what you can do with your digital calendar is to share it with your spouse, with grandparents, have different calendars for different family members and color coding, and it just makes it so easy.
And also, you will get to a point, if you follow the stuff that we're talking about, and if you live in the life you want to live, that calendar becomes your second brain, which means that even events that you choose to do with family or time that you're going to spend with friends, you'll put in there. Because A, you're not going to book anything over it, and B, you're not going to forget.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than when you're busy forgetting that you'd agreed to go and see someone, and then they're there and you're not.
Yes.
And all because you just didn't think, you didn't have the mental capacity to remember it. And when you get as busy as you are going to be if you listen to this, those things are going to mean a lot because they're going to make you feel terrible, and there's nothing you can do to undo them. So do yourself as many favors as you can.
So from a practical side, so you've sat down, if we go this, like you've got this digital calendar. Hopefully we've promoted it to you enough so you can see some of the benefits. And you've drawn up your ideal week on a separate piece of paper. Now, what I want you to do is take those things that are really important to you. So it could be your exercising, your time with your kids, your date night with your spouse, and put in a repeating calendar event. So like Don and I have a monthly life dinner, which is a very unique type of date that we do, that we've spoken about before, where we like review our finances.
It's day one or day two.
Yeah, it's day one or day two of this series. That is a 4-hour block, the last Sunday of every month. And I use a color coding, I think it's pink, like a peachy salmon color. I don't know why, but I have a color for different events. Or different categories of events. And so that's time blocked to repeat every month. That's a simple example. Things like that. Like, so I have my different businesses that I run. And so like Cube, my one accounting practice is in blue, Root to Growth in red. And what I'll do is like, okay, I need to make sure that I spend an hour on Cube's marketing every Wednesday morning. That gets blocked in. So I've blocked in. And so you slowly start to build it out. Don't expect to get your calendar fully blocked out from the beginning. That's overwhelming. Just start to put some key things in. And then the rhythm, and this is just one little 1-minute explanation I want to give. The rhythm that I've found that like works just magic is to actually have set times that you train yourself to look at this calendar. Okay, because there's no point in sitting down, drawing up your ideal week, putting it into your calendar and never looking at it again. Okay, this is where Don's struggling a bit. It's like developing this habit. So for me, what I do is every Sunday evening, sometimes I'll do this on a Friday afternoon if I know I'm not going to have a chance on a Sunday evening to look, but it needs to be before the Monday morning. Okay, whether that's a Friday afternoon for you or a Sunday evening, open up your calendar and actually just kind of look at the week. Be like, is this realistic? Run through each day. Does this anything need adjusting? Like, just prepare yourself for your week ahead. Is there anything you need to prepare for? Okay, so that's really important. Move things around. So every Sunday, that's like a bigger session, or a Friday afternoon. And then every single morning, the first thing I do when I sit down at my desk for the day is I open up the calendar and I like get myself into my day. It's kind of like situating yourself. You sit down, you're like, right, this is what I'm doing today. Okay. And you do that. So 5 minutes at the beginning of the day, and I do check it throughout the day too. And then 5 minutes at the end of the day. So 5 minutes start of the day, 5 minutes end of the day. And you're always kind of moving things around. So if I've time blocked 2 hours to work on social media posts or 2 hours to review a set of accounts, and I don't manage because something urgent comes up, I take that 2 hours and I drag it, and I can then see, oh, okay, I didn't do that 2 hours today. That now needs to fit somewhere else. Okay, when I get to the end of the day, if there's anything I somehow wasn't able to do that thing, I move it. And I'm like, it makes you get really realistic to be like, oh, shit, there isn't actually any 2 hour block that I can move this to. And it helps you to
say no
and be really realistic with your time. And it's and super
value
powerful.
Your time too.
Really value your time. And it just there's so many benefits as you practice it more and more. The key to start with it is to have that big, like, once a week review, which will probably take you 20-30 minutes to go over the whole week. And then the daily, first in the morning and last in the day check-in. And that will transform the way you work. Honestly, it makes the world of difference. So that's time blocking from like a high level.
What's the challenge?
The challenge, I don't want to overwhelm them. For me, the challenge is sit down and draw up your ideal week. Nice. That is all. If you then if you're ready to embrace a digital calendar and start to map out recurring calendar events and do the full time blocking, amazing. But if all you do today is just draw up that ideal week and have an idea of what actually fits in your life, you've won.
Yeah. And name one thing that you'll do consistently and start to add that in. If that's, yeah. And
something else I wanted us to also just come off in this episode. I know it's slightly long.
Well, it's going over 20 minutes, Ray. And we've said to people we're not going over 20 minutes. So
is to really talk about this idea. I don't think we've like fleshed it out. Is why do we say it's so important to never say like, oh, there's not enough time? And I think, I don't know, do you have any thoughts to add around this?
No, because I want to keep you in flow.
It's really because if you're always using time as an excuse, or you're seeing time in a negative way, it's never going to serve you. Like, you have to realize that it's not about there not being enough time. It's that you haven't put your priorities first. And you also have to be realistic about the fact that when someone, it could be a friend, a family, someone you love, hasn't done something because you've invited them to do something with you, or you've asked them to do something and they haven't done it, and they say, oh, sorry, I don't have enough time. That's not really true. It's that they haven't prioritized it. Mm-hmm. Because they've probably been scrolling on their phone. They've probably watched TV. It means that they haven't prioritized it above other activities they're doing. Maybe not mindless stuff like scrolling. I don't want to put them down. So I'm not just going to say it's definitely social media scrolling or TV. It could just be
business and life.
It could just be whatever's happening in their life. The point being, it's not that they don't have time, it's that they don't see what you're asking them to do as a priority above all the other things they are doing. So it's important to, I suppose, saying I don't have enough time is approaching life like you're a victim of time. When actually you aren't a victim. You are in control of your circumstances, and everything that you are wanting or needing to do in your life, you need to put a priority on that. And is it a priority or not? If it's not a priority, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, learn to say no, learn to have your boundaries.
So it's just really rewiring the way you approach time.
Yeah. Cool. And make Chronos your friend, not your ally. Okay, well, that does bring us to the end of it. I'm not going to add on too much more because we've stolen 2-3 minutes of your time that you did block out for this. So technically, if you were good at it, you would have switched this off for 20 minutes. So remember, we are who we are through others. So I'll work on me for you. You work on you for me. And that's our Ubuntu. All right, we'll see you in the next episode. Have a great day.
Are you going to put that